Train in the building. So I played college tennis with this stud. This was what, 2010? Yeah, 9 and 10. Train and I played doubles together, played #1 for Spokane Falls.
We need to show the viewers the photo. I have never seen tennis players with baggier shorts and longer shirts in my life.
I'm rocking b-ball shirts, extra long tee. I had like long hair with like a headband. I
had the Rafa look.
I pushed the hair off to the side. It was bad. Yeah, Train, and Train is living with us now. You know, sometimes he does bunk with K-Mac on the road.
Oh yeah. We have nice talks, little pillow talk,
Anyhow, so Peter's gonna kind of bring some hot topics. He's gonna be our new
current events
guy.
Spicy stuff. He'll be able to bring the gossip and the news and all the above.
For viewers and listeners out there, if you guys want to leave your questions in the comments, or ladies, hey, if you want to leave your number for Peter, do it. Okay, do it. Right. What's going on? My name is Tyson McGuffin. Welcome to the McGuffin Show. We are back. We've been, we went Dallas, Sacramento, been home the last couple weeks. K-Mac was just in Washington, D.C. this last weekend. Hometown love, even though he's not from there. Obviously coaching for D.C. and kicking ass. I have been up at Gaza the last couple weeks. Getting my days in up there, getting a little teaching done, and honestly, taking me back to my roots, doing some 101, doing some 102 teaching, kind of doing some smaller group stuff, doing some bigger group stuff, but I think it's just very refreshing to get back teaching a little beginner pickleball, so loving that. The members love it up there. It seems like all the Discovery properties are very embracive of pickle right now. They're all building pickleball courts, padel. And it is a beautiful community, even though it's a pain in the ass to get up there. It's about 45 minutes from my house. Been hanging out with the children too. Mama just got me a new barbecue for Father's Day. So pumped about that. What kind of barbecue was that again?
It's a Camp Chef
pellet grill. I'll tell you what.
No propane.
I'm going to be a grill master. K-Mac, hear this. So this grill, it's got a pizza oven. It's got 3 air fryers. It's got a little smoker, so you can put some wood chips in there and smoke your meat. And it takes pellets. I mean, come on, right?
That's kind of the perfect gift for you. I mean, everybody sees the personality, Tyson, but when they hang out, if they haven't seen you behind the scenes, you already are the grill master.
He is the chef.
I am. Kyle's eating plenty of my food, so is Peter here.
Yeah.
I know.
Right?
Tason's the chef when we all hang out as well as the entertainer. He's a versatile guy.
The grill master for sure.
Grill master. The last couple weeks I've been, hard at it. Pilates 5:30, seeing Craig 7 to 8. Gaza Ty's with us now, so after Gaza we're playing like 9 holes of golf. I come home at 6 o'clock thinking that my wife has made dinner, and she's expecting me after a long day to grill her up food. I'm like, sweetie, you gotta help me out here.
As I get home, and what do? I like cleaning the house, juggling the kids, doing all the things. I'm now handling all our camp stuff. Like I'm very busy, and he comes home and he's like, "What's for dinner?"
Megan McGuffin.
As he's stepping off of the golf course, there's something wrong with that.
Kind of funny, K-Mac. I tried to play 18 holes, and usually like around hole 7, my phone starts ringing, and it's my wife telling me to get my ass home.
No, tell him why. Because he starts an hour late. So he started an hour late.
Well,
so
hey,
of course,
I gotta go to the driving range.
We're talking like 3 hours.
Right? Driving range for an hour, get super dialed. Right.
3 hours in, I'm like, hey, are you almost done? Are you like coming home soon to cook dinner? And he's like, I'm actually in hole 8. I'm
what do we always tell our campers? Don't just hop on a court raw without any warm up and just play your first game. Especially when you're
dynamic in.
You got to get your dynamic, right?
Good.
I'm on the driving range doing high knees, karaoke,
right.
Pumping up,
visualization,
right?
You're seeing the putt go in,
right? So,
I know better. Don't tell me your tee time's at 2 if you don't start until 3:15.
It's so funny, Ty. This guy's such a machine, man. We've been taking him to the park in the morning. A memorial right downtown there. So we'll drop him off, or Meg will watch him for a couple of hours, and he'll like play 8 to 10 games, and then we'll go play 9 holes. And then the guy at like 8 o'clock, or like 8 or 9 at night, He's on the trampoline, banging out backflips, just endless energy. Just slow the hell down. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm in bed by 7:30.
Yeah, right. We're exhausted. We're like, our kids are like, why are we going to bed when it's light out? And we're like, well, just close your curtains. It's all good. It's late.
Okay. New bedtime, 5:30.
We get up at 5:30, so we gotta get them down.
You don't get up at 5:30.
Oh,
don't
I do.
you dare tell the listener. Your ass does not. I've been trying to get her to go to Pilates with me.
Oh, right. Because I have to get all 4 kids up and get them ready and get them out the door because I haven't had help this week. So I haven't had our nanny. Normally would kind of help me, but this week it's been getting them all up, getting them all fed, cleaning up the kitchen, and getting them out the door, getting them to school on time.
Get them out the door.
Yeah, so 5:30 Pilates.
I know, us husbands, Meg, we just think all that stuff happens on its own.
Yeah, right.
I mean, all the stuff, you've been home all day, and it's like, maybe not the whole picture.
I know. He's like, are you coming to 5:30 Pilates?
Automatic.
I'm like, well, who's watching the kids when I come to 5:30 Pilates? No, I didn't think of that.
I'll tell you what, the key to life, find yourself a damn good female and freaking hang on to them, you know?
My God.
True story, my friend.
Okay, some of the topics we're going to be talking about. Let's see. Yeah, Dallas, Sacramento. We have a new gentleman right in front of me here. Ladies, this guy is my camera guy. He's at tournaments, walking around, good-looking stud.
Maker of Making McGuffins.
Yeah, the true creator of Making McGuffins. Always wearing pink sketchies. Always pumping iron, six-pack. So, ladies, come say hi to this man. Peter, what's going on over there, buddy?
Looking to be behind
Don't get too
the
nervous,
camera all
ladies.
the time.
Oh, yeah.
Don't be nervous.
But yeah, train in the building. So I played college tennis with this stud. This was what, 2010?
Yeah.
9 and 10.
9 and 10.
And Train and I played doubles together, played number 1 for Spokane Falls.
Ooh,
Don't know if that means a lot, but
we need to show the viewers the photo that you showed me
We'll
the
get
other
the
day.
photo.
I have
those
never seen
baggier
tennis
shorts.
players with baggier shorts and longer
came
shirts
back in the day,
my
bro.
life.
I'm rocking b-ball shirts, extra long tee. I had
Please
like
text that to
It was
Kyle
the
just so he
style.
has
I had
It was the look.
I had like long hair with like a headband.
Yeah, he had the Rafa look.
I pushed the hair off to the side. It was bad.
We'll show that
You
Very
photo.
bad.
always had the swag, right? Throughout every stage of life, the swag is falling.
Even if you make
The
it
drip.
your own. The drip.
But yeah, Train is living with us now. He's living in our little mother-in-law's apartment here, holding it down. So ladies, hey, if you guys
flat.
want to come to Coeur d'Alene, he's got his own spot. And
Yeah.
honestly,
Hey, it's 800 square feet. It's
800
not really
square
like
feet.
a little tiny apartment. It's like,
sometimes he does bunk with K-Mac on the road.
Oh yeah. We have nice talks, little pillow talk.
As long as I have top bunk, we're
literal,
Hot air
literal bunk.
rises.
That's only happened once, but it was
just once.
definitely a bunk bed. It was bunk.
K-Mac just sent me a text last week, and he's like, "Hey, if I don't have my own room, I'm not gonna come."
That's it. That's it. That's what
Count
I was
draw the
looking
line.
forward to bunking with K-Mac
Count me
again.
out. That's so funny.
Talking strategy. Yeah.
Anyhow, so Peter's gonna kind of bring some hot topics. We're gonna be he's gonna be our new
Current events,
guy.
spicy stuff. He'll be able to bring the gossip and the news and all the above.
Yeah, and for viewers and listeners out there, if you guys want to leave your questions in the comments, or ladies, hey, if you want to leave your number for Peter, do it, okay? Do it, right?
So
Peter,
is
strike
it
while
gonna
the
be
iron's
Is
hard.
it going to be like a topless segment for Peter?
Oh, hey, they gotta earn that.
Eyes up here.
yeah, keep your eyes to your.
Keep yourself.
No, keep them up here.
Keep 'em up here.
Not on the arms.
on.
Not on the arms.
Come on. Let's see. Then we're talking about San Clemente coming up. MLP results from last week. Today there were some trades. Lots of hot stuff going on here.
Yeah.
Let's see. First and foremost, so I think Dallas was hotter than hell. Yes, it was. I felt like it was like 6 months ago, but we haven't done a pod in a while, so I'll just kind of briefly touch on it. K-Mac was not there with me. Train was there. Oasis Beach and Pickleball Club, kind of cool. I taught one of the first pickleball camps, or for Level Up pickleball camps. This was like 2018, 2019. There was 0 pickleball courts there, 0. I was indoors. It freaking rained the whole time. There's 2 indoor tennis courts. They ended up taping lines down for me. And taught a little camp there, and not gonna lie, that it was like 8 ladies, all from Rockwall, that just loved it, right? And pretty much every year, PPA since like 2019 has been having a tournament there. I always see those same ladies.
Have a little fan base.
Have a little fan base
awesome.
there. But anyhow, it's just cool. Like year after year, there's been more pickleball courts built. It was a beach and tennis club. Now it's fully converted to pickle. There's like a little jump house in there too for kids. Even though we were bad parents and didn't bring our children, even though I would let Mac jump around all day long. Mac would love that.
Yeah, no, for sure. This trip we did without kids, which I was so glad because the night that we flew in, we got to our Airbnb at like 2:30 in the morning, and I got on the app, and usually you just say like how to check in or whatever, and it usually has a code. Well, this time it said call host for the code.
And K-Mac, it's 1:30 in the morning.
2:30 in the morning.
Right.
So we're calling, no answer. Call Airbnb. They can't get a hold of her. Rightfully so. It's 2:30 in the morning. So we go find a hotel, right? And the wind is like howling, right?
Ripping.
Rain is pouring. And so we find a Holiday Inn, I think it was. And we get 2 rooms. We check in. And then like
I ended up
in the
waking
middle
up
of the
at
time.
I ended up waking up at like 6 a.m. It's hotter than piss in our room, like super humid, and I'm like, what in the hell?
He's trying to turn lights on.
I'm trying to turn the lights on.
Nothing's
There's freaking no power. Tornado sirens.
There's
I'm like,
sirens outside. We're like, what is going on?
Texas, man. I'll tell you what.
So we woke up and there were just like trees down everywhere.
Yeah, trees ripped
rain,
out.
Like rivers everywhere. It was
nuts.
insane. Yeah. And so
Good old Rockwall.
the facility suffered some damage. Like they said it looked like if there was like an eye of the tornado, it looks like it went right through
Rockwall.
right through Oasis. So they said it was pretty bad.
It
so.
And it was pretty stormy throughout the tournament for this one.
Oh
correct?
yeah, man. I mean, PPA did a great job. With just scheduling everything and getting matches on time and contacting the players through Teamworks, this little app that we use. And but no, honestly, it was I had never seen something like that. It rained pretty much every day. Luckily, there was a covered structure there. But yeah, I guess it didn't rain all day long. There was just little spurts of rain. But the parking lot pretty much is all grass, K-Mac. And I kid you not, it was like complete mud everywhere. Mm-hmm. And there's a ton of people there parking in the grass. There was like probably 5 tow trucks there, and they're towing cars out of the grass because it was so muddy and cars couldn't get out. It was like fourth day of a festival, and it had rained the whole time. Or like, Burning Man last year, and everybody's like deserted, in the desert and can't get out.
I don't know how true this was, but someone was telling us a story about I think it was the Vulcan owner, like just left his Porsche there. Like it was caked in mud and all the way down. And he was like, just leave it until it like dries out and then we can take it out. But there were so many people trying to leave there. It was just kind of chaos.
But just short little recap. Always love going to Rockwall. Kind of cool now that like all the courts are converted into pickle. As we all know, I am a bronze specialist. I ended up taking bronze and mixed. Played with Anna Bright. Anna, I will gladly play with you any day. So if you want to drop James, do it. Even though James is playing at a very high level, I could be your guy. Even though you may live with him and he lives in Boca. Hey. I have better training here in Coeur d'Alene, okay? Play with me.
That's what she can do instead of like making him sleep on the couch, right?
Whoa.
Like if he offends her, like, you know what? Playing with Tyson for the next
There we go. That's it.
Right. You'll be the doghouse.
Right.
You'll gladly take that position.
But so it was fun playing with Anna. We ended up beating Thomas and Vivian on that Sunday. Honestly, Sunday was brutal.
Nice win.
Brutal. 85 degrees, 99% humidity.
Poor Viv was sitting on the sideline with like
a bag
ice
of
on
ice
her
on her
back.
back,
Yeah, she
or
looked
on her neck.
brutally hot.
I probably smoked through like 6 shirts, burned through like 2 pairs of shorts. I sweated through a pair of shoes. It was like it was like 9-4 game 1, and I went to poach, and I literally just like sprayed water all over our side of the court. And had to change shoes like the end of game 1.
You were so delirious. You asked me for shoes. I came and brought them. Yeah, and he asked me again. And then I was like, I got them for you. He couldn't even see the shoes.
Not funny, but funny.
Right. Are you all there?
Hello.
Okay? Hello.
Did you not see me run across the venue and grab the shoes?
Right.
Anyway.
The lead tape was falling off the paddle. It was wet out there.
My paddle's just soaking wet. Changed, turner grip everywhere. I changed my grip like 3 or 4 times. Literally, I was just trying to freaking survive. But my paddle was so wet, my freaking lead tape kept coming off. So like,
you turned around and Jame happened to be sitting there.
Yeah, Jame like ripped it off for me. So I played a couple points with one side of my paddle had lead, the other side didn't. I'm like, what is going on here?
Just get through.
Balls right now. What's happening?
Right. Anyhow, and then we ended up taking a bronze in men's. Let's see. Ben and Colin did not play the bronze. Apparently, Colin hurt his back. Benny obviously balled out on that championship Sunday. 1 singles, 1 mixed. Chris Hayworth, ball striker. K-Mac, tell me.
Man. I mean, that match that he played against Staksrud in the semis was just unreal. I mean, he just drives and crashes, but he's so long that it doesn't always seem calculated, but pretty tough to handle when he's playing his A game. And in that final, he almost took Ben down. He looked good. First game was up early in the second game.
And his level dropped a little bit.
Ben just became Ben, and maybe his level dropped just a little, for Hayworth, and that's, all Ben needed. But definitely a very dangerous guy to meet in the singles draw.
Ball striker.
Crazy.
And train that Tui backhand.
Tui, man.
Tui sexy. Right?
Yeah, I mean it's a nice shot. He really he gets on the outside of it, and like he can kind of go anywhere. And then at the kitchen too, he's a tall drink of water, like Kyle said.
He's tall drink of water, long and lanky.
And I believe it was his mom. I don't want to speak out of turn there, met her when you guys were having to play indoors under that covered structure. She was very sweet, so it was cool to see. I don't know. It's fun for me to see that side of it because I understand that more. Watching her on the sideline on championship court, willing him to win and staying there and all of that. But he, honestly, I thought he seemed so collected. Other than obviously the last couple of matches.
Very composed for sure.
Yeah.
And just signed with Babolat. I have not touched that Babolat paddle. But from what I hear that it kind of plays similar to our Power Air. I'm pretty sure it's edgeless. I don't believe is there a cutout? I'm not too sure if there's a cutout or not.
What do you mean?
A little cutout at the bottom.
No, there isn't. It is edgeless. I saw it up close.
Edgeless,
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, stripes. So kudos to him. Don't know if he's going to be getting a PPA contract. Don't know if there's any dough left, if you know what I mean. But he should. He's playing well. Mm-hmm. He's been an APP legend for sure. After Rockwall bolted to Sacramento, shout out to RPPK and Duper. I did a little promo of my certification there at what was that called? Johnson Ranch. Yeah, Johnson Ranch, a nice little facility there in Sacramento. Anyhow, so lots of fun stuff coming out about the cert. You can check out the website at RPPK about kind of what's taking place with all that. But yeah, got to do a little 2-hour demo. There was lots of people there. K-Mac, probably out of the 40, 50 people there, at least 20, 30 have taken our camps. They were all super excited.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. So some familiar faces.
Yeah, plenty.
And it was super cool to see that the people that they selected for this, because they were obviously going to try to train the coaches, people, they were all or I would say 98% of them, it seemed like, had some good understanding under the belt. They've been teaching pickleball for quite a few years.
For sure.
And so it was cool to see that just so many people are just dying to be under this unified umbrella and doing it the same way. And especially as this grows globally. I mean, there were people there from India. There were people there from Australia.
Flying in from all over.
Wherever. Thailand, China, just so, and they all want to see the same thing go out and be disseminated versus kind of I feel like when it started here teaching, right? Everybody was teaching camp. Everybody had their way of their philosophy and all of that. And so, I mean, I remember there was a pickleball guru. There was all different ways of doing it.
Prem the guru.
And everybody was just dying for information, right? So they didn't know any better and everybody was taking everything. But then I think we've now leveled out to where people can tell the difference between good education and not so great education. And so as this starts to grow in other countries, how important it is to start off on the right foot. And
for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's going to be a level 1 cert for beginners, a level 2, a certification for tournament management, and then a certification for running your own clubs. Mine will be coming out in 2025. We're going to kind of piggyback it off of the camp. So you would take a 2-day camp, and then day 3 would be the certification workshop. We would do an online written. We would do a in-person private lesson, in-person group lesson, and then do some classroom stuff. So super excited for that. But be looking for my certification come 2025, and any information on that, you can go to the rppk.com website.
Yep. And just one other little added thing. With that will come a community. So, everybody that's gaining these certifications, everybody will kind of have access to each other. It's kind of a way that everybody can meet, maybe once or twice a year, and we have continuing education and people stay in touch, and we can help, drive students to find good pros to receive teaching from. So I think all in all, the whole thing is pretty cool, from community to information and so on and so forth.
For sure. Directly after that, played Sacramento. Ended up getting a bronzy with my guy Dekel, Mr. Bar, who I'll tell you what, K-Mac, the man is playing at a high level.
Yeah, no, I mean, for our team on DC, I mean, he was our 3rd round pick, and we said it a few times. He's playing like a 1st round pick right now. I think a crazy stat, I can't remember, I could be getting the numbers slightly wrong, but his total medal count last year, I think, was 1. And I think he's up, and you've obviously helped him in this department. I think he's up to like 9 or 10 this year, already halfway through the year. So just a huge year for him. He's been playing great for us in MLP as well. And you guys have definitely had a good thing going, from the start.
K-Mac, tell me, did I see him on the left a little bit?
I think just briefly in one of our matches where we were down, just wanted to throw a curveball. I believe it was against the Johns brothers. And we were already pretty far down at that point, but just a little bit of a desperation move, not going to lie, in the MLP format. Just seemed like they seemed very comfortable. And it's nice to have that as an option. Dekel's obviously very comfortable on the left. And we might do that, depending on matchups going forward, just because whether it's James or Dekel on the left, it's, going to be tough for teams to handle.
Yeah, kind of a fun little stat. The last 5 tournaments I've played, I've taken a medal in men's dubs. Singles game is on a different planet right now, so I'm still trying to reel that back in. Yeah, so Jame and I got a nice little silver there in LA, and then a couple with Dekel, then obviously played Dallas with Jame. So so some other news. So I'm playing my last one with Dekel. I feel a touch guilty about this, and I even talked to Dekel about that, even though I love Jame. So Dekel and I are playing our last one for the year in San Clemente, and then July through the end of the year, I'm playing with Jame. Left side devil that plays like he's 6'2" over there. Come on.
Tyson, maybe talk about some of the differences between those guys, because I think it's not a clear cut like, well, this one's a better player than the other one. They bring very different things to the table, right?
Yeah, and I think you and I have talked about this plenty. I think Dekel's ceiling is super high. I think something that we signed up for this year is Dekel's, not old serve, but just with the toss serve. And, this year I think he's been just struggling a little bit with like finding that new, serve with the new serve rule. Obviously, like you can't toss the arm up.
Not as big of a weapon.
Right. So, he's not doing as much damage there. But, overall, Dekel, I think he's got a lot more offense than Jame, and I think he's got more offense with leaning in, right? Like he's more aggressive with his lean. He likes his backhand poke. Drives the third well. Fights like there's no tomorrow. And I feel like Dekel and I have great chemistry. Jame and I, Dekel and I are boys. I think Jame and I are, there's just a better chemistry there, and that's kind of why I went that route. Also, too, I think some of Jame's strengths, thumbs to serve, thumbs to drive, and for a small guy, he's got sick timing on the drive. He can get a lot of easy power there. I think something that Jame may do a little better than Dekel is Dekel poaches well, but Jame's his first step is super explosive, and even though Dekel is bigger than Jame moves around the court like a big man, and his first step is super explosive. So I think, he can poach really well, and it just seems like most of Jame's offense, as you've seen, K-Mac, is primarily off the bounce. I think we can both agree with this. He probably scrambles a little better. He plays better D than Dekel, and I think we can grind teams out a bit more. Where Dekel and I feel like I'm more the setup guy. Dekel's gonna dictate and create. Where Jame and I can also do that, but I think to our core, we can grind away, put a lot of balls in play, and kind of burn people's gas tanks out. And I think too, with this new ball switch, with going with the Vulcan ball, it's a little heavier. I think also it may suit Jame and I's game a bit better than Dekel and I's.
I hadn't thought about the ball. That makes sense though. Yep.
Yeah, but I think both guys do plenty of things well. Dekel and I are still good buddies and all that, and it's just been cool. I've had plenty of partnerships where I told my partner that I was going to go a different direction. I had a couple more tournaments with him, and I could totally tell like there was some weird stuff there, and there wasn't a whole lot of faith there anymore, and like the chemistry kind of got lost. Where Dekel is just a stand-up dude, man. Like we still have a great friendship. There's been no weird like animosity there.
Not a second.
No, not even
just
like real as could be. Just a total boy, you know. I think
that's
that's like one of the things that I like respect about Dekel a ton.
Well, like I've even had a couple of conversations with him just about it in passing, with being his coach for MLP, and what a professional. Like you said, like a lot of people are going to have different reactions to this, and I think he handled it absolutely perfectly, right? No animosity, but just like kind of playfully was like, yep, this will be Tyson and I's last one. Like Tyson's going to regret it, right? And that's how you should act, right?
Why not?
No animosity, but just like, you know what, I'm going to prove to them that like I've still got it, or I'm playing great, and obviously he has been. So I think it's a good lesson for anybody. Like sometimes when you're dropped, or partner goes another way, there's so many factors that go into that, and you can be all butthurt about it and be all insecure about it, or you can say, you know what, I'm going to go to work and I'm going to prove them that maybe they made a mistake, and I just think it's the best way that you can handle it.
It can either make you or break you, right?
Well, and the reality of the situation is in pickleball, especially where we're at. I know, like for you, you've always like had a goal to stick with a partner for a year. That has been so difficult over the last few years because nobody wants to commit to a year. And so, even with that being said, I guess all I'm saying is there's a lot more change ups on the fly, right? So nothing's definitive. So like you said, like if he's like, yeah, you're going to regret it. Well, there's a chance, down the road. So you never know. Like, and what better way and more reason to end partnerships on a good note and a high note, because you never know. You might be playing with them again.
That's what Dekel and I talked about. Right? So, there's plenty of room for a future for for him and I come 2025. Something that I will note is that early on in the year, I wanted to play all year long. Dekel wanted to play 6 months. That's true. Right. I was like, hey, bro, let's run it. And then I don't know. Things turned out the way they did.
Yeah.
So,
and you don't blame him for that. I mean, obviously nobody. I mean, there's probably guys you talked to that didn't even want to do 6 months. They were like, well, let's do like a few tournaments. Let's give it a try. You know what I mean? And it's just crazy to me. And maybe it's just, it's different, obviously, from a business standpoint now than it used to be. But even back then when there wasn't so much money on the line and all of that, like you still were like, hey, let's stick it out for a year. And that wasn't always the popular opinion. So it's kind of interesting to me how, I don't know tell me what that is. Is that just attention span? Is that just
the Rubik's Cube? Trying to figure out what works best.
Not wanting to commit. Like, does it feel like a really long time? I know I was joking with, I was talking to Brittany Wilson about this, and I think she was mentioning too, like that everybody thinks that's just a long time, and if you don't have chemistry, it's a long time to be stuck together and that sort of thing. And I joked with her that treat it like a marriage, right? Like you're gonna make it work out. Like you're a professional athlete. I mean, obviously, if you're dealing with someone that's an up-and-comer or someone you're not sure about their game or something like that, but like two very professional people, can you find a way? Like if you're somewhat, I don't know.
Yeah,
that could be.
Two examples here. Jimmy and I, K-Mac knows this. Jimmy and I last year, and Jimmy can vouch for this. Jimmy played the left, I played the right. The first half of the year, we were not great. The last half of the year, we ended up sticking together. Put me on the left, put Jimmy on the right, and things panned out, and we ended up like taking a bunch of bronze medals and won TOC. And Jay and I, same thing. Like the first half of the year, Jay and I were bad. We're losing to pretty much everybody. And then last half of the year, Jay and I balled out, and we were always on the podium. So I think there's something there. So stick it out. But,
commit. Someone can commit. Dekel
but yeah, Dekel and I ended up. Sacramento was crazy. Ben played with Jimmy. I'm not gonna lie, I felt bad for Jimmy. He was kind of. It's tough playing with Ben, right? Like Ben's gonna play the whole court, and I'd probably be like in the same spot, and I'd be tighter than a freaking drumstick too. But yeah, just K-Mac, you obviously watched that match with them losing to Tardio and Newman, and kudos to those guys. Like those guys played super well. I don't think Ben was super sharp, but Jimmy, it just seemed like he was very unsure on the right. And it seemed like I don't think I ever saw Jimmy hit a backhand dink off his inside foot.
Yeah, I think it just shows that like where you're hitting your backhand from can matter tremendously, because on the left, James has like one of the best, if not the best, like two-handed, backhand cross-court roll.
Right.
But from the right side, it's an awkward motion going inside out with a lot of spin. So usually it's more just like a tip down little half volley. But kind of odd for him to be, used to that alpha male role, in so many pairings, and then to get played with Ben and be not just the right side, but like a smaller percentage on the right side, like a Colin. I'm sure that's just mentally, it's just probably very weird. I mean, when's the last time he would play even a rec game like that? So not obvious natural chemistry for that pairing, in their first tournament, and who knows, maybe that'll be the only one that they do together.
Right.
Jimmy made a joke when he came back.
Yeah, tell us. It's the funniest thing. So Jimmy comes back in the pro lounge, and it's supposed to end like, I don't know, like the cool thing about James is that like he doesn't take himself serious at all, right?
No.
And he comes back in, he's laughing, he's smiling, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, like I just lost with Ben Johns, like I'm the worst." And then he said,
but he's like, I guess I'm just a mixed specialist and a Tyson right side partner specialist.
That's pretty good. You can only play the right if you're on the left.
Yeah. He's such a crack up, man. It was so funny during tournaments. Like he doesn't really talk to anybody. He's got his headphones in. He's slamming cold brew, dumping rainstorm on his head. Yeah, the guy obviously balls out. I don't know how he can activate and perform at that level with that much caffeine. But the guy's a monster, and just to see how focused him and Anna are, it seems like there's little communication out there. And I mean, like there's been highlight reel points this year where James, like he hit that flea flicker behind his back as like an ATP, or he'll win a long hands battle, and there's like no emotion. Like he's locked into the next point. And I mean, I don't know, like getting to play with Anna. I told Peter and my wife this, getting to play with Anna there in Dallas. Like late in games, you can just feel how much she wants it. She's intense. She's passionate. She's not going to give anything away. And just like it really locks in late in games. And so it was just cool to see that.
It's infectious. Like I feel like, and probably especially for your partner, but let alone like the crowd and stuff. Like, and I think that you see that in MLP, right? Like she fires that whole team. Like she brings, even if she's
like
not
the mama
playing,
bear.
even if she's not playing and she's just running the sideline, like she's willing them to win, and it's true. It works, I think.
Well, and not just this season, but I could be wrong. Look at every MLP season that she's played. Right. Seems like her team's been in the conversation, right? So like, you could argue that she makes the people around her better than maybe anybody in pickleball, because that's a pretty impressive MLP track record. And again, they're first or second, for the Shock this year in points. So great overall player, but an amazing MLP player.
No, for sure.
Absolutely.
And then, I thought Newman and Tardia would go all the way. They ended up meeting Stacksfruit and Patrick Quinn. And obviously, those guys had a great tournament. Ended up beating those guys in 3. I think it was like 11-9 or 11-8 in the third. And then the other semi was Dekel and I playing the boys, playing James, or playing J-Dub and Dylan. Not going to lie, I played like caca come game 3. I played fine in game 1 and 2. And then... Yeah. It just kind of gave away a bunch of routine stuff. Ended up losing like 8-11 in the third, and like walking away, I was so pissed. Like that match was there for the taking. Like those guys probably brought like a B- game. And anyhow, if I could have just raised my level, Dekel played great. If I could have just raised my level, that match was more than winnable. And then those guys, finals day, lose 7-7-0. K-Mac, what in the heck?
I got to be honest. I didn't actually watch that one. I've been meaning to, because I do not know what it looks like to take a game 11-0 against J-Dub and Dylan. And they were going for a 4-peat. They had won 3 PPAs in a row.
I think
seemed to come in with all the confidence in the world. And,
I think that had something to do with it.
First-time partnership, and Stacksfruit and Patrick Quinn just had nothing to lose. But I did not watch it, and definitely meaning to go back and check that out.
H-Dog's first championship Sunday.
Congrats to him. And honestly, too, that confidence that he got from that tournament seemed like it carried over to MLP, because he played lights out this last weekend as well. Yeah. But cool to see him get his first one. I know there's a bunch of people that were like posting photos of like him like when he was 13 years old playing pickleball, and a bunch of like the pro players found a bunch of old content.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And cool to see like he's got a lot of swag. He's young, but like he's like one of the nicest guys too. Yeah. You know what I mean? Good like kid. He's just a very well-rounded, and if that's the future of pickleball, or even the present of pickleball, then we're in good we're in good.
Yeah,
standing.
no, he's really mature. I mean, even though he's got the swag, he really has a lot of maturity for his age. We've played the Shock twice now, and we're talking more trash in that one, Dekel and James, than any other match. And we're really going back and forth with those guys. And then right when the match is over, they're just sitting right next to each other in the players' lounge, like nothing's happened at all, like no ill feelings or no carryover. I think that takes a lot of maturity for a young man to be able to give it right back to somebody, but then be totally cool with everybody off the court. So we see the talent that he has on the court, but a lot of those intangibles really can make a career, and his trajectory looks great right now.
No, for sure. Let's see. Anyhow, so Dekel and I ended up playing a bronze medal match on Sunday. It was kind of interesting. It was. I mean, obviously, I would take that dry, deserty Sacramento heat over humid Rockwall.
Peter was a fan of Sacramento, right?
Sacktown.
Dry heat,
baby.
I kept reminding everybody.
Right?
It's like, hey, this ain't as bad as it was in Dallas here. Okay?
Right? It's dry heat.
Stop your yapping.
Train and I know about dry heat. We got some Central Washington boys right here.
Yeah.
Try sizzles.
Yeah.
Try sizzles, man.
Lake.
It's hot.
It seemed
Right
like
in your wheelhouse.
right as we were leaving the airport, I think someone brought that up. It seemed like Tri-Cities.
But yeah, it was like I mean, the first couple of days there, it was like 100, 102, 103. Yeah, we ended up Dekel and I kind of switched roles as far as just not playing well. I mean, Dekel carried me freaking during that semis match the day before against J-Dub and Dylan. And then Dekel can vouch. Dekel asked me in the match if my back hurt after the bronze medal match, just because I don't think Dekel brought his best, but the man found a way because he's a freaking dog.
He always does.
We ended up beating Rye and Tardio, beat him in 3. And it's kind of fun. PPA now has a little deal with, what is that champagne company? Corbel. So if you're to win a medal and you're old enough.
Yeah, you have to be of age.
Yeah. So you have to be of age. They put you on the podium and you can shake some champagne around.
Pop your bottle.
Pop it. Dump it on your head.
I mean, we've been doing the champagne and beer this whole time, but we'll do that bottle and some and the champagne and beer as well. We're gonna mix it up.
We got an email from Miller Lite. They were all pissed off.
Oh, stop.
It's the wrong kind of beverage up there.
Right.
Hey.
What are you thinking? Okay, Miller to the face or nothing. Okay.
Miller wouldn't do that.
Yeah, and then let's see here. And then went home from Sacramento. Been home the last couple weeks, so it's all been good. Spending time with family, all that. K-Mac, tell us what you've been doing. You coached MLP DC there.
Yeah. So a big event, for us because it was our home event. So got there a little bit early. Had quite a bit of media stuff. Our COO Adam Benke, shout out to him. He was instrumental in making this a successful event. In DC, I think it's the first kind of East Coast MLP destination. So they took some risk, but I thought it turned out really, really well.
I saw your ass on TV.
Oh man,
looking sharp
on the news. Were you on the news doing a little?
Oh yeah,
I went on the news for like a local Fox news station. I'll try to tell the story really quickly. So I'm just kind of thrown into it. I found out that morning, by the way, you're going to be on TV. It's going to be live. We might do like a little pickleball segment. Didn't know what was going to happen. They told me to bring some paddles. Adam brought one ball and I'm like, okay, we'll be fine. Just thought we'd just kind of wing it and do whatever. So they brought us for the intro. We talked a little bit about the event. And then with the anchors, they wanted us to go outside and do like a 1 or 2 minute pickleball segment. But outside, they put us on like a terrace, a really small area, and just had this makeshift net, wasn't even a real net, and the ground was like a cobblestone. So we're talking about like dinking. I'm trying to talk about, there's no kitchen line, but we're trying to just kind of like ballpark it. And so I get ready to feed a ball to the co-anchor. It's like literally the first feed that I do. I drop the ball. It hits the crack in the cobblestone and kind of accelerates real quickly. So I'm nervous, right? I'm on TV. I don't catch it. So I try hitting the ball to her, and it just comes in a little bit hot as a feed. It doesn't bounce in front of her. It hits her about waist high. And sure enough, her reaction she flails at it, hits the ball over the terrace. The
Game
only
over.
ball we had. And then we just had to laugh it off for the next 30 seconds. I felt about 1 inch tall. And in my mind, I'm like, oh my gosh, Neems is going to get a hold of this. This is just going to be like running over and over again. I haven't like watched it yet. I told Dekel, I told my wife about it. They said it wasn't that bad, but like in my mind, it felt super embarrassing. So
I swear.
not my finest hour, but I tried to play it off.
That's like every TV pickleball segment that we've done is something like that. Small court, like half the size.
You're just like massaging the anchors, trying to make it work.
Yeah.
It's not even like a 101 class. Like it's
reminds
lower
you
than
of
that.
like what true like beginner to pickleball would look like. And
then the
credit for the heroes that teach that day in and day out. Because I've been teaching a long time, but when you teach somebody that lacks eye-hand coordination, you really have to simplify even more so than what we're often used to. So
yeah, live TV is tough.
Hey, and did I see you with jeans on?
I think so. I mean, I think I was rocking the jeans. I mean, I don't know what I was getting into, Tyson.
I don't know.
I saw that bulge.
I told you it was a game time decision. I found out that morning.
Came back. Tyson's
don't
always,
listen to me.
Whether it's my fashion or your
fashion snob
he's
over
always
here.
I'm always giving
guiding
Train
us.
a hard time too.
Can you wear this? Don't wear that. Yeah. What did you tell Peter last
shut
time?
up.
Your shorts aren't tight enough.
Peter, can you change your shirt, please? Thank you.
Tyson's
That was you, man.
bougie with the fashion.
Right.
I know.
Pipe down, T.
Tells everybody I dress him, but I do not. Clearly, it's the other way around.
The K-Mac, and then just tell us about the event.
Yeah, for sure.
About some of the results overall, how you guys did.
Yeah, I think in general, a little disappointing for us as a team. I mean, it was a home event. We had 5 matches. We came in second. So wanted to kind of keep that momentum going. We went 2-3 overall. Went to 3 Dream Breakers, lost a couple of them. I think the match that we really feel like, got away, maybe a couple of them, we played the Texas Ranchers, who are a very good team. I think they have one of the better rosters in general, but they were playing without Alshon, and they substituted Duong for Alshon. And
played
well. I'd scouted Kwang Duong, for a couple matches when you guys have played him, and I really got a sense of his doubles game. Like, he's a lot closer to being there than I think people realize.
For sure.
So I don't think we overlooked him by any means, but at that stage, we're going to test him. We're going to put a lot of balls on him, and we lost that men's doubles match. So we lost a tight one to their women's team, which is Pisnick and Etta Wright are a really good women's team. But we lost the men's match, which we really felt like James and Dekel were a favorite going into that, and so ended up losing that one in a Dream Breaker. Thought that was a real good opportunity for us to win three games and get those 3 points, and had to settle for 1. And then the Hustlers came out hot. They did not do well in Atlanta.
What in the? I mean, honestly,
season.
that is the story of MLP.
Honestly,
No, I mean,
Anything can happen.
Totally surprised. I'll admit. Like, I think their women's team is a really good women's team, but I didn't think Jack Sock and CJ Klinger would do that well in men's.
Balled out.
And they beat us in women's and men's, and same story. We had to tie it up in mixed and lost in a Dream Breaker, but I think they went undefeated in DC. So credit to them. I think they
took
switched
over
the
number
mixed
1
pairings. I think they've got Sock with Leia now, which I think makes a lot of sense. They had Jackie playing the left in women's, Keeper playing the left with left hand in Klinger. So once they made that switch, they're a tougher team to beat, and I believe they're atop the standings now.
Yeah,
so we ended up getting ended on a pretty good note though. We ended up beating Ben's team, Carolina, in a Dream Breaker. Another one that went to a Dream Breaker, but we balled out. We put Dekel as our sacrificial lamb against Ben, and I think he actually ended up taking Ben in that one and winning more points than Ben in singles.
Let's
so
go, D.
really stepped it up big time.
Come on,
And,
I got plenty of singles left.
I remember Dekel singles.
Oh, yeah.
Way back in the day.
Oh yeah, he can definitely thump the serve and dictate against anybody if he's playing well. So happy to come away with a win at the end. And as you know, MLP is so close. The margin for error is so tiny, and you just got to keep fighting for every point that you can get.
K-Mac, any other news or gossip or nonsense that took place there, MLP, either Premier or Challenger? I mean, obviously Kwang played well. Looks like the Shock went, 3-1?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think we started to see towards the end just how good Dallas is too. I mean, Dallas lost to New York. I think if they played a rematch, I definitely favor Dallas. Right. But I think Dallas in their last 2 matches went 4-0, 4-0. So when you start to think about a team that's really balanced from top to bottom. You put Dallas, in that conversation as one of the teams to beat. Georgia, J-Dub, natural pairing. J-Dub and Augie look really, really good as a men's team. They took down Ben and Colin, gave them their only loss. And, Augie and Tyra have already played together, had good results on the PPA tour, earlier in the season. And then it's a good women's team in Tyra and Georgia. So one of the more balanced teams, top to bottom in Dallas, and they're in the conversation as well. Other than that, it's just, it's a grind. You never know. The energy was really high in DC, which I loved. I felt like Atlanta, we didn't fully get that full MLP high energy experience, but everyone was really bringing it here in DC, and I hope we carry that over into the midseason tournament in Grand Rapids.
Okay, Meg, tell me, just for viewers and listeners out there that that love your educated insight, is there I don't know, one common thing that you're kind of talking about, working with an MLP team, whether it's tactically or maybe like just getting to know your players better, or like make them comfortable so they can bring out their best stuff. But yeah, is there anything just that you find yourself like repeating a lot, during those MLP events?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously you're trying to keep the energy high all the time. I mean, that's my philosophy as a coach. I'm not an overly high energy person, but I get as amped as anybody out there because I do feel like the energy gives you an advantage. So if I feel like it does, and I'm bringing a medium or low amount of energy, I'm not doing everything I can to help my team. And that's how I look at that. I know not everybody sees it that way, but I've had success, in MLP. So I'm going to stick with that until it stops working. I think just as a coach, I would say the insight is I don't treat every player exactly the same. I mean, there is a message that I want to send, but that message is different for each one of my players. And at the start of every season, I do an individual call with each one of them, and I ask them, what are your pet peeves? What are your hot buttons? In pressure situations, and do you like more or less information? And some people want a lot of information before the match, but they don't want very much during. And so that's why sometimes during timeouts I don't talk to my players. Sometimes I do, or it's just kind of one word reminders here and there. So I think that as a coach, you really have to be versatile and not, it's not about you, right? You may have a comfort zone in how you want to deliver a message, but it's how they need to receive that message. So I'm always kind of looking to vary that, based on which player I'm talking to.
Love that. Know your players, right? Know your players for sure. Know your players and know your role. I think that goes a long ways. Okay, so Train, do you have anything for us? I know there were some MLP trades
some
today.
News and gossip here.
Oh yeah.
You're speaking my language here, buddy.
We call this Train Corner. And ladies, he's here.
Pete Totsi.
Leave your number in the comments.
Please in the comments come up with the name of this segment. We've kicked around a few things, right? Pete's Corner,
Python
Pete Totsi. Train
real
train
hammer.
Station here.
Train station, okay, the real hammer.
Powered by.
Well, there's the paddle. There's a lot of paddle information or paddle news going on right now with the I don't know, is that official with the
I think it's just
the
rumored.
UPA with the expenses it's coming now with come out with
it's
paddles.
Alleged.
Yeah.
All of it's alleged.
Give us a little information there. So paddle companies are this is come 2025, correct?
Is that what it was?
Come 2025.
I didn't even see that. Okay.
Yeah, I think come 2025. Let's see here.
They were thinking an annual 100,000 and then 5,000 per paddle, and it's all alleged though. Someone heard a rumor and then posted about it, and then I'm pretty sure there was little bit of backlash. So we say this very lightly because nothing has been confirmed.
This is coming from the Dinks newsletter, according to multiple sources. The UPA governing body. The UPAA, the governing body for UPA, is about to announce that beginning in 2025, paddle brands must pay 100 racks per year and then $5,000 per paddle for certification and regulation.
So let's talk about that for a second. Like, obviously, it's a good amount of money, but, what does that do to the landscape? So if you were a little, like if I wanted to start my own paddle company, obviously it's going to be something that affects me. I'm not, you know what I mean? You're going to have more upfront cash. It's going to be, you have to be legitimate. I think
it's gonna wane out.
It is, right? I mean, how many paddle companies are there right now? I mean, I don't know.
Who isn't making a carbon fiber
hundreds,
paddle right
now? Or
right.
maybe not hundreds, but a lot. But yeah, so obviously I think it weeds that out. I don't know. I don't think that it is a negative thing. I think if someone has skin in the game, or if I'm paying $100,000, I'm going to be...
You mean business.
Yeah, and if it's all unified and like, I don't know, it just gives everybody more of a... It seems like a very high amount of money, but I think it gives everybody a reason to pay attention, to work together, to be in the know. I mean, do you guys have any thoughts on that? Like,
K-Mac?
Yeah, I think the one potential negative, and I'm not sure if it's necessarily a negative, just an observation, is, for a smaller company, I think, we're used to the Selkirks and the Yolas with huge teams of players, but a strategy for some of the smaller companies is go after one kind of name, one player that, is a name that you can pay enough to use your paddle and promote your paddle, but the math just might not be there if you're having to pay an additional 100,000 just for to get your foot in the door before you're paying that athlete. Yeah. So definitely, I think, keeps the control, or keeps the paddles that we're used to seeing, less companies, right? I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I guess to me, this just feels like more of a statement from the PPA that says they know their value, they know their worth, they know how instrumental they are among, the avid pickleball watchers, that they've got the top talent. This is what everybody wants to watch. And so I think they're looking at this like they've done a lot of work to get to where they are now, and this is a way for them to get some of that profit back. I don't know beyond that what the business strategy is, other than just say, hey, we kind of deserve this. We've laid the foundation, and we know that it's relatively expensive, but we feel that it's worth it for the paddle manufacturers that are getting that kind of exposure, on the PPA tour.
Yeah, I think
low key, little flex, but complete power move.
Alleged. All of this is alleged, but I would say too, I think, Kyle, to your point, I agree with you. For a smaller company, it seems next to impossible to get noticed without some sort of standout player or someone, right? Or like some sort of incentive, or be able to incentivize a player. I think on the flip side of that too, I think we're going to see, if we're not seeing that already, that with the bigger paddle manufacturers, that we're actually going to see them sponsoring less people. No, not that they've made it necessarily, but I think we're getting to a point now where you're seeing the biggest paddle brands spending less, and I don't think that's because they think, no, I think it's different for each company, but whether it's the companies don't believe that the pros are selling their paddles, whether it's, there are big enough players in the game that they don't have to, have so many signed pros. I'm not sure what goes on there, what will go on, but I have a feeling that it's pivoting slightly to where it's not so important about who's sponsored with what paddle and which drives paddle sales, particularly. Right. Maybe for the small guys, though, that is a great point. That is it. But.
Well, then also, like, you've got Wilson, Babolat. They haven't really been huge players in the game, so maybe those tennis companies kind of start to really insert themselves. I know Babolat's doing a little bit. Head's been in it for a while, but it's kind of weird they haven't
fully.
Yeah, I kind of thought that was going to happen. Right. 4 years ago, 3 years ago, and so yeah.
And already in the pickleball world, we've seen a little bit of consolidation, right? We saw like ProXR buyout,
right?
Buyout
Paddle Tech. There's rumors that Engage could get bought by ProXR.
So if there's already consolidation kind of happening, and you're kind of already driving towards the big guys. I mean, I was talking to someone earlier today about tennis. Like, is this a thing in tennis? And they were saying, oh gosh, I can't think of a legitimate small tennis or racket company that's trying to make a
5. It feels like
right. And and I think it's too, not that it, but that's what I was gonna say. Like, not to say you want to like shut out everything, but in the same sense, if you have the big 5, they're all cooperating, they're all following the rules, they're all accountable to each other and to the the rule or the the unifying body.
Easier for testing purposes.
Correct. Like, does that make this more streamlined? Right. It takes out the variables.
It might make some of those companies like a Babolat or Adidas or somebody that has a lot of money but hasn't had a huge pickleball presence yet, it might make them, make that decision where they're going to be out or we're going to be more in and actually have more players on their team. If you're going to pay $100,000 just to join the party, maybe it makes sense to have
load up your roster.
So it'll put some of these companies at a decision, I think.
Or like if you have a technology like Proton, or you have some new gadget thing, like would you go to, a Yola or go to a Selkirk and say, hey, I've got this technology, I'll sell it to you, or I'll bring it to you, let's get it approved under yours. Right. They've already paid. They're paying $5,000 a paddle. This is all, if that's even realistic or if that's really going to happen. But
what do you guys think, though?
Something there.
Should we push the pace with power or push the limits with spin? Okay, Meg, what do you think? Trampoline, or basically Gen 3 or Pro XR, super spinny or bring the heat. What do you think?
I'm going to go with what a lot of pros have said recently. I think if you're choosing between the two, go spin.
Spin.
I just think that it still keeps it, safe-ish, right? Injuries can always happen, but I just think that it's tougher to kind of lose what pickleball is just going heavy spin. But if you go that big a heavy power, you are going to lose some of the nuanced skill of the game.
Now, do you think we can equalize some of the power with the ball?
Yeah, honestly, I think right now the new the new Vulcan ball, it's a little heavier. It plays like a Franklin. Seems like it stays more round, even though we still are using a brand new ball every game. Points are drawn out. The transition from defense to offense or offense to defense can take place a lot more throughout the point. That's what the fans want to see. Obviously, it's tougher for the pros because points are like drawn out and very grindy. But I think it's gonna make the sport younger. I think it's gonna show like true athletes that are winning on the PPA tour. Just because you can't blindly just beat people with power, right? I think defense is totally enhanced with that ball. I know myself, I love to lob the living hell out of that new Vulcan ball. I can use the old senior speed up, you know what I mean? Lob Tardio until the shorties fall off. So I think it's great. I think and I think right now with the tech that Yola has provided, not going to touch too much on this, but the new tech that Yola has provided, it feels like a grade below a Gen 3. Doesn't compress as much. It's a lot stiffer, definitely less power, but it's nice and spinny. And I think just to do the sport justice, to make it look better on TV, points should be drawn out. Even though fans want to see offense and all the above, but I mean you can still see plenty of offense with this new Vulcan ball and spinnier paddles that are less poppy.
Yeah.
So
lots of ways to skin a cat, right?
Yeah, lots of ways to skin a cat. Train. What else we got over there? What other goo? Jack Sock's booty or what?
Greg Dow and his.
Tell us what happened there. It was MLP, right?
It was MLP.
Yeah, okay.
MLP post match little interview, and he was curious about Jack's derriere for.
Oh my god,
that thing is luscious.
That's so funny.
I want to bite.
In what other sport would that fly? I'm just curious.
Dow can say whatever he wants.
Please tell me.
Right?
It's got its own gravitational pull. That thing.
Dow's a character. Dow came and stayed here in Coeur d'Alene for a week, and the guy
Greg
just.
Dow?
He's witty as all hell.
He is. And it's funny. I love how he asked the question, but then he didn't let up, right? He didn't take his foot off the gas.
Right? You gotta own it.
He got a couple laughs and then he pressed further. Tell me, is there any positives? Is there any negative side effects? Is there, in player distraction? And I think it was Mish was like, oh, well, I think we're going to have to turn that question to Leia. And then Leia was laughing. The whole thing was just freaking, I thought it was kind of funny.
I mean, I know, I think with just being a new father and all the above, like when I was a new father, I definitely, packed on.
That's a given thing.
Right. Totally. It happens, right? Right. But to Jack's credit, how athletic and how stupidly fast his first step is.
He's nimble.
I mean, and how flexible he is. Like, kudos to him. I mean,
he said the booty gives him power.
The booty gives him power. The guy is a true athlete.
And he's got horsepower back there.
He's got horsepower and he's got a freaking noodle for an arm. And he's still playing at a very high level.
Oh, go ahead.
Most top sprinters have decently big butt, right?
And there we go.
Kyle's really fast.
There
I
we
want
go.
everyone to know.
K-Mac's fast, right?
K-Mac's quick.
K-Mac's got a
I
touch.
keep trying to tell myself that.
No, what was I going to say? Oh, that interview too. I think I didn't watch that match, but I think they were talking that they barely kind of got by the Skinner. Or he called himself the least valuable player in that first match, but he said, I promise I will turn it around and I will bring it in the next matches.
He balled out.
Did exactly
man
what
of
he
his
said.
word.
It's true.
Right?
It's true. It's pretty crazy. I had to,
No,
as an ex-hustler family and still hustlers, deep at heart, still a little piece of us. I had to call Corey and congratulate him. And yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, and you guys know this, and Kyle, you know this probably as a coach, you probably think the same thing. Like, if you can get through without Jack being top, like if you can get through with Jack playing a C game, like it's a good position to be in. It's only up from there.
Well, and I'm sure too, like Corey and the ownership group with the Hustlers was just a touch worried, after the Atlanta event, with their highest pick, and just what Jack has proven playing on the PP tour, but just most recently, like what he did in DC. I think there's no worries anymore, and they're obviously at the top of the leaderboard. So guy's a stud.
Yeah,
big booty, cool. Lively arm, fast as hell.
Get out of his way,
Jack. Teach me how.
Watch out! Here he comes.
Train. What else we got?
Dude, we got a fun little situation, a little hot mic situation kind of happened. Some criticism of a certain drive. I mean, pickleball, you can hit it all kinds of ways, and it works. So
hey,
Train's you're a kind of a stickler for.
I'm a snob. I'll be honest.
Train's a carver.
Yeah, I'm a carver.
But he's also like a stickler for like what would you call that? Not form, but technique, right?
Technique,
like, he's all about technique and the way it looks, and like
use that roll volley train.
My game to Peter is probably like a nightmare. He's probably like it just like makes
you make up for it, Meg. I'm not gonna judge you for it. You've done too much.
Thanks, Peter.
Stop.
But no. So
take the mics off of the bench.
That's here to stay.
K-Mac knows. K-Mac knows the nonsense that comes out of my mouth. Nobody, Skechers doesn't want to hear that. Miller Lite doesn't want to hear that.
You're gonna have to come up with some new words, or we're gonna have to bring Mac out there. Mac is the new.
Don't say that.
Don't
say that.
Mackie's like the cuss police, K-Mac. He is.
Well,
he is.
Mackie had a week where Tyson would cuss. Mac would say it right after him, and then we were on him, right? Like, Mac, you cannot say that. And so he got all embarrassed. And now, if Tyson, he hears him in like 3 rooms away, and he'll be like, Dad, don't say that. He's on it.
Just keep him courtside.
Be front and center for you.
Keep him courtside.
Yeah, he's gonna be like
honestly,
Don Stanley.
When I heard that recording, like it made me go, "Oh crap!" Like
I got.
If I said something, or you and I had a conversation in the heat of battle, and I'm trying to pump you up or whatever. So it's a good reminder for me that, and for you as well, is that we might be mic'd up at times. So I'm not sure if it's a great thing. I'm not sure if you want what's said, privately to be blasted out to the world.
Right.
Definitely I don't know. I think maybe it's good for ratings, but other than that, I think a certain amount of stuff should stay somewhat private.
Yeah, and I think there's plenty of things said like that in like the heat of the moment. I'm sure Ben didn't mean it, and I don't know. The sad thing too is that it got totally blown up. I mean, it got put on MLP's one of like their posts on social media. Tyra ended up commenting back.
That good of Tyra.
Yeah. So I thought she handled that. I mean, from the Twitter perspective, it was like that was pretty funny. It was like
lean into it.
Yeah.
Just what'd she say? Asking for a friend. Any tips
Any
on?
tips? She's a total baller
Tell me
too.
how I hit my forehand.
Please.
But hey, when Train may carve every dink and he may carve all of his volleys, but when he's driving, he uses T-spin.
I'll hit the T-spin from the baseline.
He does, right?
Oh my gosh, that's.
Just trust it on a volley, right? Trust that T-spin.
I love how Anna Lee pointed out the mic at the end, though. So I feel like maybe they were briefed before to like remind them, like, hey, the mic's there. Maybe they forgot.
I think the Waters just know certain things that most players don't.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
Privy to different information.
Oh my goodness. I was gonna say something else. I won't.
Yeah. Keep it down. Keep it G-rated.
You say you haven't been on Center.
K-Mac, Meg's new middle name is G-rated Megan.
Oh, stop.
She's all G-rated.
I'm cautious.
She's cracking the whip on you, keeping you in line.
K-Mac knows how many disasters icebergs
I
I've steered this ship away from just by being overly cautious, Meg.
Right.
This goody two shoes over here doing just. Doing everything by the book.
It's opposites, right? Like
yeah. Tyson's just like, whatever, we'll figure it out. We'll apologize later.
Fuck
Maybe.
them all. That's what he said.
We don't need them.
Oh no.
Right, off this topic, Train. What other nonsense we got?
Pickleball documentary.
Oh.
I mean, that was a few weeks ago, but yeah.
Oh my gosh! You know the most excited. Well, first of all, Ashley and Craig, who created and
did a great job.
They did a great job, and they worked so hard. Coming. That was like such a passion project over multiple years, so much work. And gosh, learning now, like looking at all that they had to jam into that and how much they had to film just to get that, like, gosh, like that's got to be the hardest thing, just watching all these scenes that you thought should be in there, and they hit the cutting room floor. Like that's got to be
and hey,
so hard.
That happens.
You were in the documentary. You know why?
Yeah, I was gonna say I think I saw the trailer for that, and didn't they have footage from the pool party?
and hey, know that K-Mac and I aren't full blown alcoholics, even though it did show that scene.
Speaking of,
we call that Championship Sunday when you don't actually make it.
Well,
and you go straight to Wet Republic and you ball out.
You make your own championship
with a big old large bill at the end.
Oh, stop. No, but too, that was our anniversary. Just a little side note.
Oh, yeah.
So that was kind of like a dual
Share Bear slinging ones
and
around.
It was like the end of the year little celebration for.
But no, the most excited person for that documentary was Ryan Sherry.
So it came out at midnight, right? And we were in Texas. So he stayed up.
Yeah, he cruised by and was
3 a.m.
Right.
to like watch it as it
He's always
premiered.
up at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Right.
But he watched it like 2 or 3 times that evening, came in the morning, and as he's like zooming through the parking lot.
Hang on, sorry.
Right?
He I'm pretty sure he called me around 4:30 a couple times.
AM.
Yeah, AM. And I saw him the next day, and he's like, the first thing he says is, "Bro, have you seen the documentary?" I'm like, I have not.
I'm sleeping, Share Bear. I was catching some Z's here, dude.
I've got singles today. That's what it was like before Singles Day. It was crazy, but no. Kudos to them. They did a great job. That teaser.
Check
was
that out.
Funny,
You know where they can find that?
I believe that it was only available for that like 10 days after the film festival went on,
really?
and so. But I think, Pete, you probably know better than I, but getting it into the festival obviously is a step in the direction of someone picking it up and buying it. And if it gets sold, then we might see it on, some other streaming platform or
put it on Netflix.
Other way to go.
The people need to see it.
But there was me and you pre-veneers, and Mackie was a tiny little baby, and Banks was pretty small, and that whole journey just seems like a lifetime ago.
Yeah, it does
for sure.
Mackie back in the day was dropping deuces in his pants. Guess what he's doing today? The same thing. Macco, for gosh sakes, use the toilet.
All right, I think we had one last hot topic.
No, Seattle loses another sports team.
Oh,
I mean, Pioneers are no more.
And K-Mac, just tell me, what was that chemistry like with those 4 individuals at DC?
Well, it's really tough to tell because it looked really low energy, right? But you're not used to the Johns brothers specifically having, a lot of energy. I do think, the vibe between Jesse and Andrea didn't look great. They obviously didn't play very well. I'm not sure if they won a match, but they were getting pretty exposed. But I don't know if it was a great look. But again, I don't want to read too much into it because I feel like the Johns brothers often are lower energy, and
they always find a way.
Nobody says anything, right? But when they lose, they're like, "Oh, look at how bad their energy was." So I think they're just kind of a different type of team. So I'm not going to read into it too much, but definitely not a great first event for them. And I think it's going to be a tough season for them. I think that their women's team is going to struggle to get wins, and then if I think Colin's going to struggle getting a lot of mixed wins. And then even if Ben wins men's and wins mixed,
good luck at a breaker.
A dream breaker, and they're not really built for a dream breaker as a team, outside of Ben. I mean, Colin's fine in singles, but none of the guys in Premier are bad in singles, in my opinion. So it really comes down to your women, and Jesse and Andrea, just not regular singles players and look to be a little bit out of their league in some of those matchups.
Tricky too, being, I think not every team sees success to their first event out the gate too. So you just wonder if that, I don't know, even not even just first event, but like the first match. Like if someone else has already got a few matches under the belt and you're playing your first match, it seems like, I don't know, just by history, it seems like, like St. Louis, if they're going to have a loss, it's probably going to be to someone that's already got the ball rolling in a tournament or something like that. Got the momentum
obviously
going.
We saw
right?
how the Hustlers bounced back, right? They didn't have a good Atlanta, and then they went undefeated in DC. So sometimes just a couple of tweaks can completely change a team. But just my opinion from what I saw, it seems like they're maybe not even going to make the playoffs this year, which really opens things up even more for somebody to take the title.
Sure.
K-Mac, give us your thoughts on the trades today.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll admit that the trade with Pablo and Martin Emmerich was a little bit complicated. I believe it sounds like kind of a formality because they already took Duong, and sounds like they're just hoping to kind of retain Duong, drop Pablo, and go with Duong and Alshon.
Do you like that?
My understanding is your roster always has to be full. So they first had to do the trade. And then,
trade goes first,
and then they bought.
Then the selection.
Then they purchased the first pick on waiver wire because technically, Black Diamonds had the first pick because it goes worst to best, right? Standing. So they had first. So they sold their first, and I think I saw it on Pickleball.com published that Black Diamonds took $100,000 for that first pick slot. So they had to first trade Emmerich to keep their roster full and put them in a position to where then they could purchase the first waiver, and then with that first waiver, take Kwong and then drop Martin.
Got it.
So I believe Martin is currently not on a team unless he was picked up by a challenger.
But K-Mac,
That's what I wanted to ask about.
Yes, Kwong played well this weekend, and obviously, his doubles got a lot better, and
huge upside, obviously.
Big up. I mean, good dream breaker guy. Obviously, with him being a good singles player transitions to mix as well. But do you think? I mean, I don't know. I mean, he's going to have to play right side with Alshon, right?
Well, I mean, I've heard that they're thinking throw Duong on the left, which. And that's why I don't necessarily love this, to be totally honest with you. I love Duong. I think he definitely showed that he can play in Premier and deserves to be there, eventually. I think he would have been available after this season to potentially pick up without having to do this right now. I don't know if Duong right now is a better player than Tejas. And then it makes the men's doubles trickier because then what side does Duong play? Maybe you do put him on the left, but then you throw your top pick Alshon over on the right where he's not as dangerous. So I don't necessarily love it right now. I like where their head's at for kind of a long-term vision, but I'm just wondering if they waited, would they have been able to accomplish their same goal at the end of the season?
But tell me this, do you agree that you like the situation better with Kwong being a right-sided player and playing left and mixed, and then obviously just his ability to play singles?
Yeah, I mean, I'll admit, I don't know if I've seen Duong play the right side in men's. When I've scouted him, he's always played the left, with what he's capable of doing with that two-handed backhand. So I think you're taking a risk to see how he'll do on the right. He'll probably be fine, but if you're going to make that big of a play, at least in my book, I would want to know that they're comfortable over there. And I think Pablo still got it, in my opinion. I think his level's still good enough for him to go down to challenger. Feels a little off. I didn't think he played like a challenger level player.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if something gets worked out, at the end of the year where he bumps right back up to Premier.
Right. And this last weekend he's rocking the long chains, rocking the cutoff. Just looking like a bad boy. I like it.
I thought he played well too. I think he played well. Kyle, do you know, I should know this, but do you know how often this takes place? Is it after each tournament? The waiver and the being able to drop players and trade.
Yeah, I would
and
have
all
to
that.
double check. I'd have to
Okay.
double check on the rules there to see exactly how often.
Okay. Yeah, because it'd be interesting to me to see some big shakeups. I mean, other than Kwong being taken off of the non-drafted list, I don't think anybody else, right, took anybody that was not drafted.
So Kwong wasn't playing challengers.
No. He was not drafted. So he was on the waiver. So that's what made
crazy.
this.
Yeah,
But,
why would you not draft that guy?
Talk about
I
a
know.
jump.
Yeah,
But
right.
to be honest, like I mean, even 2 tournaments ago, I feel like Kwong's doubles games was much different, right? He was just driving.
Jama and I played him and Dow, and I mean it's chaos.
They played well.
Yeah, they played super
Yeah.
well, and that's kind of what you saw at MLP. Like he's gonna bang thirds, bang fifths. He's got heavy hands, dinks super aggressively.
But I thought he had more shot selection, or I guess I felt like he had more tools a little bit.
I think
in MLP.
I think his hands are a little suspect. You can kind of go through him, like he's always looking to find space on his counter. But like most, I guess people that dink super aggressively off the bounce, like he sagged back, K-Mac, and you've seen this. He sags back, rolls
Plays
the
off
living
the line.
piss out of the two-hander, and then he can kind of create from there. But he gives himself time. So I think, Kwong in 6 months is going to be dangerous. I think he's good now, but and then with Father Duke there, Duke's always pushing him, to be the best person
It was
that he
cool
can be.
though to see him smiling and like. I've never watched.
Let that man breathe.
No.
Okay?
I was gonna say just
Let
watching
Kwong breathe.
Dad like celebrate and like
No, it's cool,
look
for
at
sure.
him, and
Right.
I don't think you see that. Everybody always, like you said, like zeroes in on the criticism side of things sometimes, or even commentators like to find my worried face on the sideline. But
You
there's
just
plenty
wait.
of good
You just wait
cheering
till
too.
till Coach Mac. I'm gonna be like I'm
Psycho.
gonna be all over him, being kicked out of tournaments.
You're gonna have to get
Right.
some lessons from Duke. He's gonna have
Right.
to teach you how.
I'm gonna be like Duke times 3, all over him, spanking his ass on the court.
Running behind the car on the way home.
Oh yeah,
You're
right.
running
If you
home.
don't win, your ass is running, and there's no dinner.
He's like asking, "Can you get a ride?"
Right,
Dad,
right.
No, you cannot. Oh, too funny. But so other trades.
Yeah, and then there was one more. And,
Claws dog.
and
Claws dog.
K-Mac, you don't have to talk too much on this, but obviously you guys traded for Glosman.
Yeah.
Glosman's good.
Not an easy decision
No,
by
it's
any
tough.
means, and not one person's decision either. I mean, I'm the head coach, but we've got a general manager, we've got a COO that's extremely involved, and then Al Tylas, our owner, very influential guy in MLP. So it was a situation where Al and Adam are going to ask my advice and Josh's advice on on the pickleball side of things, and then it's going to be up to them to kind of decide what our goals are as a team. I think we take a little risk here. I think that our mixed team with Dekel and Elise, I don't know how you can play much better. I mean, Elise is a perfect complementary partner to Dekel, and they've been playing fantastic. With his offense, really, there's not a whole lot of offense left that's needed in mixed. She just, keeps him in the point, resets at a high level, and just the energy and the intangibles and just the leadership from Elise is all going to be really, really missed. And it was tough because I thought that Elise and Rachel struggled our first event, but they played a lot better this event and were really kind of making strides. I think 2 major reasons that kind of pushed us into this was feeling as though our women's team, even though they were losing close ones or right there with some tough teams, we were struggling to put the ball away. And, playing in these hot temperatures, it's really deflating if you play a long point, you get ahead in the point, you're thumping overhead after overhead, and then that team just is getting back to neutral over and over again, which we saw as a reoccurring pattern. So Glosman gives us a big power upgrade. And then I think that just seeing how tight it is this year, I mean, even the teams in first and second place have a couple of losses. Like nobody's undefeated this year. Nobody's running away with it. And you just got to get the sense that in the playoffs, there's going to be a decent amount of dream breakers. And so I think that with Glosman, she really upgrades our singles if we do go to that dream breaker. So, not a cut and dry choice. We're really happy about having Glosman on our team. Obviously, it's a painful decision. At least just such a great person, a great pickleball player. So not an easy one, but I think really this was done for the purpose of let's play for a title this year. I mean, a lot can happen, a lot can change, but we feel like this gives us, a shot at potentially going all the way, thinking that we might have to play a dream breaker or 2 to get there.
Like it.
I feel like that trade in particular, too, similar to Pablo. I don't think Elise sits in Challenger very long at all. I feel like
I don't think she's a Challenger level player. Definitely a Premier level player. It just kind of worked out that way.
No, for
but
sure.
I agree. I think it'll be temporary that she's there.
I think it's temporary. Yeah, I think that's why I'm curious on the when, if it is after each tournament. I mean, that's pretty, I think you'll see some. And I didn't watch, I know the waiver was for Premier this morning, but then I think later this afternoon, or maybe it already took place for Challenger. I was thinking maybe too that there's probably more shakeups on the Challenger side, or there will be, than there probably was on the Premier side.
Right.
Probably, my guess.
Okay. Try anything else over there? Are we locked in?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, love that.
For now.
Okay. So
But please, viewers, like hot topics.
Yeah, get in there, guys.
Yeah, things you want us
Get
to
in
talk
there.
about it. Leave it in the comments. Send us a DM. We're going to have a whole segment.
They'll get on my list. They'll get on the docket.
Yeah,
I'll
and not
drill
only-
McGuffin over here.
And it doesn't have to be necessarily hot topics or news stuff. It can be technique questions. It can be
How to hit the carver.
Things you want to see on the show.
That low dink
you wanna-
backhand.
if you want a little
Every
slice,
time.
if you want a little slice of Train's game, just ask.
Just ask.
Just
You don't
ask.
have to, don't be shy.
Don't be shy. Right?
I love to talk about
Hey,
me.
the water's warm here.
Free 99.
He does charge.
Yeah, know your worth.
Mom, tell us about camps coming up from
my
our new
goodness.
camp administrator.
Thank you. Well, shout out to Emily Taylor. She
she's
was
great. Love her.
instrumental
Gonna
to our
miss her.
team and still part of our family, and love her to death. And she's like all of us, life. And they've got two very successful clubs going in North Carolina, and so like
South Carolina.
South Carolina,
Beach, yeah,
and
yeah.
And also kiddos in high school and
Dealing
all
with
the
CT
things,
and putting his, just like my wife,
Just-
putting a daily diaper on their
yeah,
husband.
yeah. So just a lot going on. I understand more than most, and she's been so amazing, and she's still helping out with me because I'm getting my bearings underneath me. But we're finally, I think last night got most of the camps up. We've got a few more to add. We've got one in San Diego that's going to go back up, and then there's one, a big one, a year-ender in Mexico. So
Get signed up.
yep, getting those all on there.
TysonMcGuffin.com. Get
So,
over there. Get
yep,
K-Mac, get
yep.
McGuffin, or
Meg at TysonMcGuffin.com if you have
leave some
questions, or
comment,
info
or
at
leave some questions
TysonMcGuffin.com.
in the comment section for Train. Train will only charge you,
Yeah.
$30 per question.
For syllable.
Priscilla. and then also just a little plug. Always, I'm surprised Peter didn't plug it, but Making McGuffins, check it out. We
I'm sick of it.
subscribe on YouTube. You can watch it there. Whatever we premiere on Tuesday comes out on Tennis Channel the next Monday, and there are slight differences, so check them both out and you can catch both episodes. But on Monday following. So we've got Making McGuffin Mondays. It was also really cool this last Monday. They kind of did a best of Tyson. So they played the best of matches before and after the
TOC,
Making
and
McGuffins
then
premiere.
Jimmy and I getting that W at TOC. Me like tackling him on match point, and then
It's like the best match.
come
last year, I
on,
think. That was
right?
the best one.
The
Right, the
crowd
old
exploded. It
bagel
was
in
insane.
game 3, and then balled out in 4 and 5. It's so funny. I still remember this point in detail. It's like I think it's like 7-4 game 5. We're serving. We like drop, scramble. I'm like sag back. Jimmy's in transition. Rye is in front of Jimmy. They were kind of going at it back and forth the whole match. And anyhow, Rye speeds up at Jimmy. Jimmy's got his 2-hander cocked and loaded. Just freaking unleashes with that 002 TM gold signature. Puts a freaking hole through Rye and says, bang! And then, 8-4, 9-4. Then we end up rolling. And anyhow, great match. But yeah, got to watch that one. And then me and B Long.
After Making McGuffins premiered, then they played the B Long match. And that one was
and
priceless.
That's a great one.
We had no business, winning that match. Dekel had a sitting, quacking duck. I love Dekel to death, but he has no business missing this ball. Match point. He has a sitter, top of the tape. We get life back, roll back. Keep me in Utah, all right? We need to move to Utah.
I know,
I will win
I know.
every match in Utah.
We love the Utah fans.
Oh,
They're the
yeah.
best.
Too
But
funny. Anyhow, so this next week heading to Heading to San Clemente, best venue in pickleball, beautiful town, great food, little surfing town. Who doesn't want to be in San Clemente, right?
It's beautiful. Weather's always perfect. It's always the same.
K-Mac and I have our favorite buddy there.
Yeah.
Roddell.
K-Mac and P-Train are going to
Get his book, K-Mac.
Are going to be staying with Roddell.
Get ready, P-Train.
You got to keep it the same, right? You don't want to like mess up the flow. I mean, right?
K-Mac, and why you guys are staying there is because we have 4 children and we have our nanny with us. So we can only pack so much in the house unless you and Peter want to sleep together. Last time I was on a bunk.
You totally
This time it should be in the same bed.
Right.
Don't knock it till you try it, K-Man.
Anyhow, heading to San Clemente. Have a range shoot on Monday. Super excited for that. And I'm playing with Dekel Bar and Paris Todd next week. And then playing through Sunday, hoping to make championship Sunday and not just marinate in a bronze medal match, if you know what I mean. And then directly after that, back home for a week or so, back up at Gazer. And then we're off to GR, Grand Rapids, for the old mid-season tournament.
I'm
Premier
excited.
Challenger, old format, double elimination. Who doesn't
Premier
want to see
against
that?
Challenger?
Right?
I mean,
anything can happen.
Speaking of,
Tell you what, there's going to be some serious trades if Challenger teams freaking beat Premier teams.
yeah,
It's going to be a lot of news.
They've got nothing to lose.
They got nothing to lose.
No,
Right?
I think you could easily see some upsets. I believe, especially with some.
Don't know about
trade.
easily, but
Don't get the yips.
Hey! I'm just saying. We'll see. Early round matches.
Yeah. Anyhow, my name is Tyson McGuffin. Appreciate you guys. If you guys want to sign up for a camp, get over to my website, TysonMcGuffin.com, and we will see you next episode after San Clemente.